Good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Mr. Tarun. We'll be waiting for more couple of minutes and then we'll start.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Yukti.
Okay, so good morning and welcome to the Wellness Camp. Thank you so much for joining in on time early morning. We will start at sharp 7 o'clock, just another couple of minutes from now. We can stop sharing the screen for now, Bhushan.
Mr. Tarun, can you stop this screen?
Yeah, we can stop sharing the screen for now. Let us open the session and then we will share the screen. Good morning, Tarun.
Good morning, Yukti. Good morning. Yeah.
Could you just
You want me?
sharing the screen?
I can try sharing my screen.
Yeah, we could stop it for a bit, let the session begin, and then you could do this.
Sure.
Good morning, Surya. So good to see you back. I'm getting so used to you being around now. You better make it for all the sessions to come. I can't believe you're almost at the end of the camp. I think when you're having fun and the time is good, time always flies. So, good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wellness Camp. Today is a day of financial wellness. Finance is a very important resource that makes our life comfortable, that allows us to plan for things that really matter. Now, whether times are good or bad, certain or uncertain, one thing that's certain for sure is that we have ways to plan for what is important for us in future. So, who we have with us the entire day are experts from the industry who understand the market, who can share nuggets of wisdom with us all and tell us what is the right way to look at the market, understand what's going on, where to invest, when to invest, why to invest, and many such questions that are probably on your mind. But before we go there, allow me on behalf of SBY Academy to welcome you all to the Wellness Camp, and thank you all for embracing this event with so much love. We are totally overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed with your response, your love, the fact that some of you have come back for every single session has been, a huge encouragement for all of us. For those who don't know me, my name is Yukti Kapoor Mendirata. I'm the founder and CEO of SBY Academy and a leadership and etiquette coach. SBY Academy is a platform that offers leadership training and coaching solutions to corporates and business owners. We do this in 3 different formats: executive coaching, which is a one-to-one interaction, online training workshops, and self-paced courses that are available on our website, sbyacademy.in. Before we go ahead, I know you're very eagerly waiting for Tarun to share with us where to look, which direction to see, how much to invest where, and so do I, trust me. I have my own list of questions ready for him. But before that, I want to give you a sneak peek into one of our flagship courses called Upskilling Leadership Mastery. It's a spiritual leadership course which is in a complete live masterclass format and happens only twice a year. The first batch started in January this year, and we have now opened registrations for the second batch, which begins from 14th of August. What is this course? It's a transformational journey for those who want to discover who they are and connect with themselves, and that is how we know we can lead others better. So it's a course that makes you a better leader and, most importantly, a better human being. Let me give you a little sneak peek into the course and then let you decide if this is the right step forward for you. We'll be happy to take up any questions or queries that you may have regarding this course. Later, you could email to us as well on yukti@sbyacademy.in. I'll be happy to respond. Am I audible? Give me a thumbs up, guys. If there is one thing that's out of our control is network. Okay, thank you so much. We will share this video with you all as well. I think it got stuck somewhere, but I've shared the message with you, and I warmly welcome you to this program. It will be an experience that will probably create a breakthrough for you in your life. With that, allow me to thank all our sponsors. Without our sponsors, this event would not have been possible. I want to thank CFBP, who supported us to create this event, in partnership with Phillip Capitals, our radio partner Radio City, our digital partner It's Mumbai, associate partner Kashi Wellness, and YVO. Thank you so much for being with us. Do we have Tarun? Tarun is back.
Yes, he is there.
Hi, Tarun. Let me introduce our speaker to you all. It's been an honor for us to host Tarun Birani on the Wellness Camp platform. Tarun comes with 17 years of experience in creating value for over 250 families across the globe, comprising of NRIs, HNIs, and ultra HNIs, and handling AUMs to the tune of 300 plus CR. He's shared his insights on various talk shows on ET Now, Bloomberg, Money Control, CNBC, TV18, etc. He's an author, also has been writing around maybe more than 200 columns with analysis and views on various personal finance topics published by reputed media houses. So with that, let me hand over the stage to you, Tarun. Thank you so much for adding to our financial wellness. We look forward to learning from you today.
Thank you very much, Yukti, and thanks for having me here. Am I audible, Yukti?
Yes, Tarun.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So great. Thank you for sparing the first part of your day for me. And I think I feel so excited, so all charged up to start session right at 7 a.m. in the morning. This is the first time I'm doing something at so early in the morning. Thank you, Yukti, for that. Thank you so much. So very excited. Yukti, how much time? I have 1 hour, right? 1 hour
Yes,
to talk, right?
we have time till 8, and while we're at it, I want to quickly spell out the house rules. A lot of people here in the room know very well how it works because they've been coming back for all our sessions. But quickly, for those who are joining us for the first time, there are many ways in which you can interact with Tarun. In fact, I'm sure he would love it to be an interactive session. You have a Q&A option in your panel. You also have a chat box. Please use Q&A for any questions that you may have for him so that it's not missed out, in the chat. That happens in the chat box. And if you want to interact with him in person, you could raise your hand. There is a raise hand option. When we, see your hand up and Tarun is able to bring you in, we will allow you to talk. You can come in and have that interaction with him. So let's make this interactive, keep it going. Make sure you take away the answers to every question you have in your mind. Over to you, Tarun.
Brilliant. Thank you. So let's quickly start, and let me ask all of you, and I want all of you to use this chat box with yes and no. Quickly, how many present here? And I'm sure you all have come here 7 o'clock in the morning. So just tell me who all want to be rich. Yes and no. I want a quick yes and no on the chat box. I can see yes, 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 yes. Many of you have started sharing. Thank you so much. Yes. So I can see almost 100% of you want to get rich, and some are saying wealthy. Okay. Now, let me quickly ask how many of you have defined your specific financial goals. And when I talk financial goals, I'm talking about, let's say, for your retirement planning, and retirement is a negative word for me, but let's say financial freedom or your children's future. How many of you have specifically worked towards it? Can we have a quick yes and no there? I can see 1 no, 1 yes, yes, no, 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 no. Okay, great. So I think from this sample size, I can see many of you have given their inputs. So almost out of 100% who have told me that they want to be rich, I can see only 20% have specifically defined their financial goals. And that is the dilemma. I have taken sessions for 100 people, 200 people, and whenever I ask this question, everybody wants to be rich. But defining financial goals, define clearly what they want to do. I think less than 5-10%, 20% have defined them very clearly. So this is the biggest problem to start with, and maybe that is a takeaway for all of us, that it's a journey, right? Unless you don't define where you want to go, you will not go. Like in our businesses, we define our clear-cut tangible targets, right? On a monthly basis, yearly basis, quarterly basis, and we all start working towards it. But here we don't define anything. Things are, okay, I have money available, let me invest. But that is not the way one should look at money. The problem all starts with not getting a structure in place, okay? So that is the first point I want to share with you all. But let me share with some quick client case studies, and Yukti, you can tell me, is it visible to all of you? Okay. I hope this Excel, which I have just shared, is visible to all of you. Yeah. Yukti? Hi, Yukti.
Yes, it is visible.
Visible, no? Fine. Great. So I think, like I asked all of you, that defining purpose, goals, and everything, I thought let me share some quick case studies, and data speaks more than anything else, right? Let's not talk in vague. Let's talk with numbers. So I want to share with some 6-7 client of ours case study who have started. I have started coaching them, working very closely with them, and I thought this 6-7 sample size would be good enough for all of you to get some idea how does this work, right? So I think let's first look at the client 5. I think the serial number 5. And this client 5, when I'm talking about, when we started working in 2013, we found everything was very random. There was no purpose, there was no goal. We worked on defining their key financial goal that at age 55, 60, they want to make sure a specific corpus is achieved for them. And just to give you a background, this client is currently 54 years old. He started late about planning, but after that, we went into identifying what is the level of risk this client is ready to take. He was the moderately aggressive risk taker. So that's where we defined an asset allocation of 70. And as we speak, right from scratch, we started from zero portfolio for this client for his goals. Today, we are at a corpus of almost 3 crore 8 lakh rupees. And his returns have been almost 11% per annum. Let's talk about client number 2. And why I'm talking about client number 2, because this will give you a sneak peek into somebody who is currently 43 years old. When we started working with them, he was almost 37 years old. Again, zero portfolio, zero corpus, nothing defined very clearly. He used to keep juggling in real estate here and there, used to keep putting money here and there. And I think we worked very hard to define his key financial goals. Like I asked you all, that what are you working for? What is your money mission? And I think while deep diving, he had aspiration to send his kids abroad to US when they turn 18 plus. So that's where we defined almost 1 CR required for each kid for their education. He currently works in a very stressful job which requires him 24/7 availability, and that makes him feel very stressed. So he want to make sure that by his age 50, he has corpus available for his financial freedom. So we have defined a X corpus. You can say 10 CR, 20 CR. What is that corpus? We can work towards that. But he has defined that, and we can see as we speak, he achieved almost 4.7 crore of corpus as we speak today from a zero corpus. His annual returns have been almost 15%. So my idea of giving you these case studies is to just make you all think, how have you guys been doing? Is there anything you are doing right now to work towards your financial goal? And this is one very important reflection I want you all to start thinking. Am I making sense? Can I have you all put in yes, no on your chat box, please? Thank you. Thank you. Great. So let me just quickly kickstart our session. And I think all of you know this gentleman, Vijay Mallya, and he's known as a person of good times, and we all remember almost 5-6 years before, Vijay Mallya used to be like a face of Indian Richie Rich, right? I think let's quickly deep dive into Vijay Mallya's case study. Vijay Mallya has almost 60 plus firms. The high is like he was known as King of Good Times, chairman of UB. He was worth almost 11,500 crores in 2007. 2016, he left India with almost 17 public sector bank, and he has a recovery of almost 9,000 crore, which he owed to all these banks. I think we can all debate about it, but big reason of his fall has been Kingfisher Airlines, which was launched in 2005 and which was grounded in 2012. Mallya defaulted on loans and taken to keep it afloat. But he continued to maintain an extremely extravagant lifestyle. As we talk, many people can question that whether he has siphoned the money or whether this is like a money which is there with him or not. But I just want to think and deep dive what are the financial lessons for all of us. Don't get emotionally attached. And a lot of people have money, but they get emotionally attached and they keep putting more money in loss-making investment. So cut your losses to safeguard your portfolio. That is one big lesson. Don't take loans if you are unsure to pay of your financial ability to repay. And most of the money problems starts with these word loan and leverage. So one need to be extremely careful about it. That's the first money lesson I want to give. Second big money lesson I want to start with is this gentleman, Boris Becker. I used to idolize Boris. I used to wake up early 4 o'clock to watch matches of Boris. He was one of our favorites, and I know many of you would have watched him play very closely. Let's talk about Boris' life. And Boris' source of wealth has been, he made a lot of money through tennis, poker prize money, endorsements, youngest player to win Wimbledon. He was among the top 10 highest earner in tennis, and he has a net worth of almost 1,400 crores in Indian currency at that point of time. The lows in 2017, he went bankrupt. He was forced to auction almost his souvenirs and trophies, and he reportedly owed almost 600 crore plus in Indian currency. And he defaulted on a lot of tax payments also in Germany. So the reasons for his fall, he reinvented. Again, he tried reinventing himself as commentator, coach, and poker player, but his taxes, loans, and all these took a toll. What are big financial lessons from Boris Becker's money management thing? Loans don't go away if you keep ignoring them. They become bigger as interest keep adding up. Repay at the earliest. Don't spend more than you earn. And I have seen this happening with many of us. We earn 100 rupees, and today loans are available so easy to all of us. It's so approachable. Banks keep coming to us, and people end up ensuring they spend more than their expenses. They end up taking a lot of credit card loans, personal loans, home loans, whatever it could be. So don't spend more than you can earn. There are some good loans and bad loans. One needs to be very clear what are those for you. It doesn't matter whether you earn in crores. If your outgo exceeds your income, the money will not last very long. This is big lesson from Boris' life. This gentleman, A.K. Hangal, and I know all of you would have seen him in almost 200 plus movies, playing a role of your father, a role of a father, Nana, Dada, somewhere or the other, right? Let's talk about A.K. Hangal. And there are some very important learnings from his life too. His source of wealth has been films. The highest from 66 to 2005, he has acted in almost 225 plus films. Lows, after 2007, he found it difficult to get any roles due to old age. And in 2011, he couldn't pay for his medical bills, and film fraternity has to come forward. In 2012, he expired at the age of 98 in extreme poverty. Reasons of fall: since he lived for 98, his kitty could not sustain him for retirement, and his source and income and medical problem have again increased all the problems. So what are the big financial lessons from it? Your retirement kitty should be large enough to last 25 years plus after you quit work. Invest on your corpus so that you can beat inflation and grow sufficiently in retirement. And I'm sure all of you would agree to that. that, and I'm sure today we are not thinking about it, but I have seen people living a very bad life because they have not planned it well. Your best days, after you have worked so hard till 60, you are not able to enjoy your life. So it is very important lesson for all of us to start planning properly. Great. So let me start with something which you can reflect back. And what is this 28,000 days? So 28,000 days is nothing but average number of your days any person lives, and which is nothing but 80 years. Okay. So 80 years is nothing but 28,000 days. So let us talk about this journey. And this circle talks about the 4 different quadrants. And I have tried dividing it in 4 parts. The first part is 0 to 20. And when I talk about 0 to 20, what are the important things we all do? We study, we play, and I think these are among the best days of our life. Second, 20 to 40, we all after our studies, we get our first job, our first car, first house. I would say first wife, yeah, and kids. All of that happen in these years. 40 to 60, your second job, second car, second house, no more wife, okay, yeah, and kids. So you can see this is a transition which happens for most of us. And 60 to 80 is the number of days we spend without work. It is for most of us, it's like the retirement period. Okay. So these are quick quadrants. So you can see almost out of 28,000 days, 14,000 days, you are absolutely not working. More or less, the number of days available to work are only 14,000 days. Okay. So let's ask these questions to ourselves that what if I cannot work to 60? And based on my interaction, these are the common apprehensions most of us have, that what if I cannot work to 60? Okay. And I'm just trying to put all those apprehensions so you can also start reflecting back that what are your big apprehension and big insecurities in life towards money. What if I cannot work to 60? And there have been times, and I think in this pandemic period in last 1 year, we have seen many families got devastated. There are a lot of medical issues, challenges have come in. So what if I cannot work to 60? I think according to me, the solution is something like a pandemic. Many people have gone through worse times. So you need to have a critical illness or income protection plan. All these are very important. As a solution also I'm talking about, there are many more solutions, but I just tried jotting down something for you to just make a mark. What if I don't reach 60? There are, we have seen people wherein early deaths happen, right? And this is in no one's control. But if this happens, we have seen families have to go through rough times. So what is the solution? Yes, life insurance is the solution, but according to me, it is completely missold in India. And we all have been given things which is not required. Investment and insurance have been mixed. What is important is to take a pure term plan for yourself. You need to identify your human life value. And based on human life value, you should take a term plan for yourself. I think this is a dream most of us have. And I'm a father myself. I have 2 kids. So I always keep thinking that my kids start life with the right foundation. And I want to make sure they get the best of the education. As we talk, education costs in last 20 years have gone through the roof. Let me give you a quick background. If you want your kids to go abroad, let's say after 12, just in case we are talking about United States, the annual cost is nothing less than $50,000. So you're talking about a 4-year course cost to be nothing less than 1.5 to 2 crores. So unless you don't plan it now, I think you will not be able to achieve this. Even if you're looking at education in India, the cost of a normal MBA is nothing less than 20 to 25 lakhs. And engineering college can also go between 10 to 20 lakhs. The medical courses are much more expensive. So I think we need to start thinking about it. And the first point which I ask to all of you, define your purpose, get realistic number, measurable number. That is very important. So we need to start working towards children education fund. And by this, what I'm trying to say is we need to create strong buckets. Buckets are very important. Fourth question, and again, you can replace the word retirement to financial freedom. According to me, what is more important is to do things in life which you actually want to do. You don't want to do things what others want to do. I see a lot of people working towards EMI, just rat race, just keep on buying cars, keep on buying expensive gadgets without thinking. What is more important is to define your financial freedom very clearly. Why it is so important? Because it gives wings to the way you want to live your life. I have been working with I have been fortunate to work with some clients who are like currently 35, but they want to make sure by 45, they have a corpus available for financial freedom. So financial freedom makes you do things which you want to do and avoid things which you hate. Like many of us don't like our jobs currently. We just work because it is a source of income and our family needs are taken care of. What if you have a corpus available enough to take care of your daily needs? I'm sure your decision to work would change dramatically. So financial freedom is a feeling, and according to me, if somebody defines that clearly, will change the way you look at money. So how much is enough to retire? I think you have to start working towards your financial freedom corpus. Let's say my cost of living today to live is say 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees, 50,000. It can vary for each one of us. I have clients who requires 10 lakhs to live a good life in Mumbai. So I think it is an individual number and we need to define what is that number for us. Once you have defined that, you have to go back. Well, let's say whenever you want to stop working or you want your corpus to be there, from there till the average age of let's say 80, you have to start planning this corpus is available for us. So according to me, if you have taken care of for these 4 things, you are more or less sorted. So for my suggestion to all of you is start thinking about all these things for yourself and start working towards it. And what is the solution? The solution is nothing but make a goal-oriented financial plan for yourself. You can make it yourself also. But what we have observed is most of the time we are very emotional about our money. Just give me a second. Thank you. So we are all by nature very emotional, and most of our decisions in life have been driven. And when it comes especially about money, we are very emotional about it. So our decision making at most of the times is driven out of greed and fear, and due to that we are not able to take right decision. So what according to me is the right way? You need to define very clearly your tangible goals. What is the goals you want to work towards? You need to get your risk profiling or risk tolerance done. All of us have come from a very different background since childhood. The kind of life we have seen, what is the kind of life you see for future, and what is your current financial position, plus how do you assess investments. All these things drive you to have a specific risk tolerance. So you need to define whether you are an aggressive investor, you are a moderate investor, whether you are a low risk investor. All these things need to be defined very clearly. The third part, according to me, and this is according to me success mantra, you all have come 7 o'clock in the morning, and I want you to keep making notes of these important points. Once you have defined tangible goals, you have what is the right risk level defined for you. The next part is to define clear-cut asset allocation. What are the limits under which you will work? Out of 100 rupees, how much money you want to spend for equity, how much money you want to spend for debt, how much, which is like safety asset, how much money you want to put for real estate. So all these asset allocation limits are very critical. And people like Warren Buffett, Rakesh Junjunwala, all these people, if you look back, uh, they have all started working early, and they have defined these goal and purpose very early at age 15, age 18. And today they have almost 20, 30, 40 years of track record working towards this asset allocation plan. So if you want to really get rich, you please define all these things. This will really help you get very focused and start working towards it. And after that, once you have defined it, I think regular supervision, where you are going to invest, you need to supervise it, review it. Are they matching your financial goals? Are you working in the risk limits, what has been defined? So all this is very dynamic. And trust me, you need a professional help also at these times, because we are all not equipped to work towards it. So my suggestion to you is, who is genuinely very serious about getting rich or getting financial freedom, I think they need to go through this exercise to get tangible results to come in. Great. So now let's talk about different asset class. And Yukti has told me that tell us some ways and means by which we can invest smartly and we work towards our goals in a better way. So let me talk about different asset classes. There are in effect, there are four different asset classes, and I can give you quick background that out of these four asset classes, equity is one of the best wealth creation asset class, and the average returns over a long period of time. And these I'm talking from a 15 years, 20 years, 30 years point of view. The returns have been in excess of 15%, 15% annual returns. That's the kind of track record. And this I've taken data from Sensex Nifty. So the long-term returns have been closer to more than 15%. Gold has in average given returns more than inflation. Our inflation have ranged between 6 to 8%. Average returns have been approximately closer to 10%. Bank fixed deposit, these are safer assets. And since inflation in India used to be high, the average bank FD rates used to be 8%, but as we talk, these rates are less than 5%. Okay, our average inflation level are roughly around 7%. Great. So I think before I get into the next part, I want to run you through some very important lessons. Why it is important to select a right asset class. And to go towards it, I'm just opening one calculator, and I want your active participation on chat box for this to get some inputs coming in from all of you. Okay. I'm not sure whether the Excel sheet is visible to all of you. Yeah. Can you all see the Excel? Can you put a quick yes, please, on the chat box? Can you see Excel? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So now I am talking about the different asset classes, and I'm just quickly writing different asset classes. Equity return performance have been 15% over a long period of time. Debt investment returns have been close to say 8%. I'm taking on a higher side. Gold has been almost 10%. Okay, and inflation. The expense growth rate has been closer to 6% in India. Okay, these are some quick four numbers for all of you. And I want to take one of you. Yukti, can you please chip in right now? I want to do some bit of talking here.
Sure, Tarun. We can also invite any of the participants if you like. We can give them an opportunity to interact.
Right. So, Yukti, I think, yes, this is not good to ask a woman age, but can you tell me your age, please?
My God, this is a public revelation of the fact that I'm on the other side of 40. So let's go with 40.
Brilliant, brilliant. 40. Okay. So Yukti is 40. And Yukti, if I have to give you a quick number, let's say how much money you want to save every month. How much money you want to save every month?
Say a lakh.
1 lakh rupees. Okay. I have put in 1 lakh rupees. And I am assuming that since Yukti is so busy with her work, she's not able to concentrate properly about money management, and she's putting all her money into something which is safer, which is like fixed deposit. Okay. And Yukti is 40 right now, and let's say she's working towards her kids' future goals. Yukti, can you talk about your kids? What are your kids' age currently?
Yes, I'm blessed with twins who are 10 years old.
Okay. And what do you want to work towards their education goal?
So I think by the time they turn 15, there should be a corpus of 1 CR. By the time they turn 17, there should be a corpus of 1.5, given that they might want to consider settling abroad.
Okay. So I can see Yukti mentioned her children goals are almost 5 to 7 years away, and she is looking between 1 to 7 years away, and she is looking at a corpus of almost 1.5 years. Okay, okay, for her kids' future. So now, Yukti, I think since you have mentioned your clear-cut, tangible goal, and I'm sure you are working towards your financial freedom too, and you want to make sure that you have a corpus available for your financial freedom, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm assuming by age, say, in next 10 years, 15 years, you want to achieve that corpus also, right?
Yes.
Great. So now uh, 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 with a very safer kind of investment, let's say 8% is the number. In next 5 years, if Yukti starts spending, saving almost 1 lakh rupees, and if that money gives her a growth rate of 8%, you can see her 60 lakh investment, what she has done for almost 5 years. The value of that is almost 73 lakh rupees. And let's say I chip in and I tell Yukti about the benefits of asset allocation and long-term wealth creation. Equities can deliver better returns to you because you need your money after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. All her important goals are 15 years, 5 years away from here, right? So in 5 years, if she starts putting her money into something, into a mix of equity, debt, gold, and all those asset classes, I feel the average return what she could deliver over a long period of time could be in the range of 12 to 15%. Let's take a range of, let's say, 13%. If her money starts growing at 13%, uh, you see, is the calculator visible to you? The numbers,
Yes.
can you see it
Yes,
properly?
Tarun. Yes.
Yeah. So instead of her money growing at 8% can become 73 lakh, a 13% can give her 83 lakh rupees. So 10 lakhs more. Yukti can tell me that, okay, Tarun, I'm taking so much risk and I'm just making 10 lakhs more. So the risk reward ratio in 5 years doesn't look that exciting. And if you ask me personally, you are taking a good amount of risk. And the returns which you are getting is just 10 lakh rupees more. Okay. So now I tweak the number. I tell, okay, Yukti, uh, since you have clearly defined your financial freedom goal is 10 to 15 years away, your children goals are also between 7 to 10 years. Can we increase the number of years for which we are compounding our money? So from 5 years, we move it to 10 years. And when we do this 10 years, you can see your investment of 1.2 crore. If it would be put in into a 8% asset class, your value would be 1.8 crore. As we talk, a 13% growth asset will become 2.4 crore. Okay. So you can see a difference of almost 60 to 70 lakhs coming in just by making your asset allocation correct. And we as Indians don't understand that there are such great ways available to create financial wealth over a long period of time. And we need to start thinking about this magic called compounding. Let's say I move this 10 years to 15 years. And in 15 years, what is the amount Yukti would have invested? 1.8 crores. And this 1.8 crore at a fixed deposit 8% growth rate would give her 3.4 crore. But at 13% asset will give her 5.4 crores. So that is the power of compounding. I want you all to experience in your life that, and if it grows at 15%, you can see the value is 6%. Yukti, are you feeling a little more richer right now?
Absolutely. You just
Yeah,
made my
yeah,
day.
great. And Yukti, I think this is very much achievable according to me. a 1 lakh rupees savings for next 15 years on a consistent basis, I have seen that, and I have shown that in my first Excel slide also, that we have seen clients achieving 4.5, 5 crore, 6 crore corpus over a period of 7, 8 years just because of disciplined planning and structured planning from zero. Okay. So my quick suggestion to all of you, and please make a note of this concept called power of seven. And this power of seven will go a long way for all of you. That extra 7% return over a fixed deposit can change your life. Okay. So when I'm talking about a 15% growth rate over a long period of time, you can see the corpus moves to 6.6 crore. And if I move it to 20 years, and I know many of you in the audience would be of age 30, 35, 40 also. So you have good 20 years working available for you. So if I move this to 20, you can see the your investment amount is almost 2.4 crore, but you can see your corpus at a 15% growth rate become almost 15 crores versus a 8% growth of a fixed deposit, which is nothing but 6 crores. So this is power of seven, and this power of seven is one of the most I could say underutilized secret weapon. And if you can start using this, I can see over a period of 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you will have a considerable wealth outside your business, outside your job, and all those things. Okay. So start thinking about this power of seven concept. Another concept which I want you to make a note of is regret of five. Every time I meet people, they say, okay, करते हैं savings, अभी की इतनी जल्दी क्या है, 1 साल बाद करेंगे, 2 साल बाद करेंगे, 3 साल बाद करेंगे. Let's say Yukti, I advise Yukti to start saving for 15 years, 20 years, but Yukti would have delayed it by 5 years. I make it 15 years. You can see just by saving 60 lakh rupees less, Yukti is poorer by almost 7 crores. Okay. So this I called as the regret of five. A 5 year delay can cost you almost 50% depreciation in your corpus. So what is more important? You have to start early. And for people who are there in 20s who are listening us right now, I think this is something you can start implementing, that you start saving something or the other on a regular basis today. Which are the places you can invest? I think the best place could be to start some SIPs for yourself, define your asset allocation, define your risk profile, and accordingly you can start doing some SIPs for yourself. And according to me, that is the best way currently to create this kind of wealth. So in a 20-year span, you can target towards a 15 crore corpus Yukti. And I think this is a great number, right? So the next part is the power of 10. Anything which is saved and compounded over a 10-year plus gives you magical number. So you all have to remember this power of 7, regret of 5, and power of 10. Power of 10 is anything invested for more than 10 years get you great tangible compounding benefits. Okay. So now we move on to the second topic. You may ask me that how equity, it's such a complicated subject. How can I start investing in equity, and how can I start making money in equity? Okay. I think before that, I want to talk about this exciting asset class called real estate. And according to us Indians, we feel real estate is royal. Okay. I want to give some bit of numbers in front of you to give you some thoughts about this investment called real estate. So this is one of the marquee property in Mumbai, Samudra Mahal, and it is one of the most expensive property at Worli Sea Face. A flat purchased in 70 used to be at 700 square feet, and I think in 2013 it used to be 118,000 per square feet. So money has multiplied almost 168 times in 43 years, and this is massive, right? I know people who have taken flats at 10 lakh 15 years, 40 years back. They are worth almost 10 crores, 15 crores as we talk. Looks exciting, right? But can I and I want all of you to use your chat box. What would be the annual growth rate of this investment if you would have taken this property 40 years back? Can you all give me an annual growth rate number? 5%, 7%, 10%, 20%, 30%. This asset which has grown so much, what would be the annual growth rate of this asset? You can put any guess. Can you use the chat box, please? 8%. I can see Abhishek has put in 8%. Some people are putting 12%, 15%, 18%, 18%. Sandeep is saying 18%. Great. So let me now disclose what is the growth rate of this asset class. The annual returns are just 12%, 12% return. हमको रियल एस्टेट में क्या आदत है, हम रियल एस्टेट को हर चीज ऐसा सोचते हैं, हमने 10 लाख डाले, 10 लाख का 50 लाख हो गया, बट वो 50 लाख आपका 30 साल में हुआ है, 20 साल में हुआ है, 25 साल के में हुआ है. You have given that kind of time to that asset class. And according to me, 12%, 13% returns are not that great. And this I'm talking about one of the best marquee property we are talking about. I have seen people in last 5-7 years, their real estates are roughly at the same level what it used to be. Apart from that, real estate has some real issues. The big problem of real estate, it's an inseparable asset. It is very difficult to find buyer and seller whenever you want to sell. It's not a very liquid asset. Again, the problem is the quality part is always an issue in India. You don't get graded properties. There are a lot of challenges involved in that. So, and I want you all to reflect back, is the real estate the best asset class for you? You need to think over that. If the asset class has overall, like equity, it has the potential to give you 12-13%. Why do you want to lock your money into such a illiquid asset? And I have seen a lot of people, and I have myself also used this, staying on rent versus buying your own property. You can also think over that part of money management, because your wealth creation can happen magically if you start saving more money compared to you putting that money in EMIs. I see most of us are like slaves of banks. We are working for banks, and banks are making us pay all these EMI every month, these such fat big EMIs, which we all are paying. Instead of that, if we are saving and compounding that money for say 12-15%, I could see your corpus would be much larger, your financial security could be much larger, and maybe for some years you could stay on rent. And once you have a great corpus available, you could look at buying your own property also after that. So maybe you want to reflect back on that part also, that buying a real estate, is it a good decision for you or not, or from your long-term wealth creation point of view? Because real estate takes a massive amount of your monthly money, your EMIs. Okay. And apart from that, if that asset is not growing for say 7-10 years, I think bigger chunk of your net worth is completely into a very average or low performing asset. So that is something which you want to go through. Now let's talk about this animal called equity. And equity, I want to give you a quick a chart of almost 20 years. This will give you some bit of idea how does this animal behave. And trust me, this animal equity, if we look at from 99 to 2019, which is almost a 20-year period, if you would have been a very unlucky investor and you would have started investing, let's say, right at 2001, and Ketan Parikh scam broke out, and we have seen a fall of 25% happen in that year. In 2002, again, market was down by 2%. In 2003 also, it was down by 13%. So you can see you have almost lost almost 45% of your capital in these 3 years if you would have started investing in January. But again, if I tweak it and I tell you that, as I was talking, giving you that compounding Excel also, that anything which is invested for more than 10 years gives you great returns. Okay. If you would have followed the same rule, you have been unlucky in terms of timing your start of the investment. But if you would have been a 10-year investor from 2001 to 2010, just look at it. In 2004, you made 80%. 2005, you made 15%. 2006, you made 67%. So average number of, if I look at average return from 2001 to 10, your average returns were more than 15% annually. And we have done this rolling return study across period from last 20 years, that if you would have invested for 10 years, in last 20 years, at any point of time, your average returns are more than 10%. So it in double digits. So the magic of compounding, what I'm talking about, is very much achievable if you start looking at a bucket of almost 5 years, 10 years. Your returns would be much more. And if you are plain unlucky to invest into a bad market, I think that will be taken care of in next 3 years, because market works in business cycles. Like in 2018-19, markets have not moved anywhere. And I have seen small and mid caps delivering 40% negative returns also. But look at 2009, 2021. We have seen markets giving almost 100% return. So market works in cycle only. And you need to appreciate that the timing is not in anyone's hand. And anybody who is claiming that he know when to enter into the market, I think he's making a fool out of you. So what you should do is define your goals very clearly. Define what is the maximum monthly savings you can do. Define your asset allocation. How much risk can you take? How much you can put in equity? How much you can put in debt? And start saving based on that. And that wealth creation Excel, which we looked at from a 10-year perspective, that looks very much achievable if you start working on that plan. Again, I have seen people are very, very happy to buy HDFC fixed deposit at 5%, but they are not picking up a stock like HDFC Bank, equity stock themselves. If I give you last 30-year track record of HDFC, 25 years track record of HDFC Bank, it has grown at 30% year on year in terms of market value. Okay. So you could have achieved a 30% growth rate if you would have invested over that long period of time. But as Indians, we are very happy putting money in HDFC fixed deposit, and all foreigners. And mind you, HDFC Bank is a foreign bank today. Why foreign bank? Because foreigner owns the majority in this bank. Okay. So as Indian, what we should start looking at is to start saving more into such wealth creation assets. And this can really achieve great wealth creation as for purpose for all of you. I have again looked at some period, and this is a calendar year study, and this is a quick nifty number from 2003 to 2020, and this I have taken till July 2020, and when the pandemic broke out, equity market was down 20% also. I wanted all of you to get a feel of all these bad years also. So from 2003 to 2020, there were almost 5 to 6 such instances where you got negative returns, or there has been drawdowns of almost 20-30% in the portfolio. And the reason, and we as analysts and we as panelists in many talk shows, we may give all these events name like subprime crisis, euro crisis, demonetization, ILFS default, and last year it was pandemic. But I think as an investor, let's do something which is in your control. All these events you can't change, but what you can change is if you have defined your financial goals very clearly, if you have defined your asset allocation very clearly, if you can start working towards that plan, I think all these events will become insignificant, and you will start working on your area of competence. And your area of competence is nothing but defining your goals and purpose and defining your investment based on that. So what I have done is, in the chat box, I have just put in one link. 1 second. Can you all see that link? Can you all see that link? Yukti, can you see that link?
Yes, Tarun.
Great. So what I am doing is I am giving free 10 complimentary free health checkup to any of you who is interested to get their financial goals checked up and identify what are the gaps are there in your financial life. Okay. So first 10 will get a complimentary 1-hour session with me. So that link, I think some people are saying they can't see the link. I am just again pasting it. It's a Bitly, it's a Bitly link. 1 second. I have only put in the panelist. Sorry. Yes. I have to put it. Yes. I'm just putting that now. Great. Now I think you can see that. Okay. So just type in if you are interested in getting your financial health checkup done. And there we will try to identify what are your important financial goals, what is your risk profile, what is the right asset allocation you should do. And to the first 10 people, we will try to spend almost 30 minutes to 1 hour to get into a deeper conversation, what are the gaps. and maybe if required, we can get into a future engagement accordingly. Okay, and this will be completely complementary. Now, what are the ways to look at equity investment as we talk? These are three ways. Either you can have your own vehicle, which is nothing but investing yourself in direct equity. You define your own stock purchase and sale. According to me, this is a difficult thing because you have a full-time job to take care. This requires a lot of commitment and time in terms of meeting companies, attending annual general meetings, do a detailed research about it. So, and I have seen people losing almost 30–50% of the capital because they are not tracking it properly. And they get into companies like a Jet Airways, a company like, there are many corporate governance issues available in the market. With every 10 rise, there are 90 failures in the market. So it is very important for you to pick up a stock correctly. So maybe you want to delegate this to, let's say, a portfolio management service. If you have a corpus more than 50 lakh, you can have your customized taxi available for yourself. If not, you can take a public transport like mutual fund. Well, lakhs of investors like you pools in money, and there is a dedicated fund manager which takes care of your investment. What is good about mutual fund? At a fraction of cost, let's say 1 to 2%, you are getting access to a seasoned fund manager whose day in, day out job is to get good companies for investment for you. And they keep tracking whether this investment is doing well. These companies are going in the right direction. In the business cycle, are they in the right place? You've seen in COVID pandemic, many sectors are not doing well. Sectors like aviation, tourism, all are going through bad times. But if you would have put in money in sectors like pharma, sectors like technology, you would have made more than 100% return. So this is again where you need a professional help to pick up right stocks for you. And according to me, mutual fund is the best place. We have seen almost 80% of the funds in India have delivered double-digit growth rates with more than 10-year track record. So you may want to pick up some stocks for your financial freedom for that. Okay. Again, these are more data, but I think we are running short of time. We are closer to 8 o'clock now. And I know Yukti wants me to go through Q&A session now. So maybe what I would quickly go through now is, give me 2 minutes, Yukti. I want to just complete this part, and after that, we can have some quick Q&A if there are any questions. So first is, what is most important part in investing is you need to mind your behavior, right? And if your behavior is correct, like in any part of life, you would be a successful investor. Like how we have shown Yukti that Yukti can make a 15 crore corpus over a 20-year period if she behaves correctly. If she defines her goals and purpose very clearly in a disciplined way, if she can work towards next 20 years, I can see a 15 crore corpus Yukti can achieve. For that, what is most important? And this is where I see the investor and investment return challenges are. Average Indian investor have achieved 6.5% return. And this is based on a study which has been done by Mint, that returns of investor have been 6.5% based on mutual fund returns, mutual fund inflow outflow data. But when I look at actual returns of the market in the same period, the returns are almost 12%. Okay. So there is a gap of 6% what investors have achieved, and investment has delivered 12% return. So this 6% gap, how can it be achieved? According to me, this can be achieved if you follow this power of 7, regret of 5 concept. You start early in life. You define your clear financial goals. Don't get swayed away by the noise in the market. We have a WhatsApp university which is working round the clock, giving us advices, free advices that buy this, buy that, do this, do that investment. According to me, that is not the right way to look at it. You need to make your individual plan. And investing is all about if you can manage all these behavior biases. And I can take a separate session, Yukti, for a full day about these behavior biases. How we keep anchoring, how mental accounting makes us do bad investment, a loss aversion, herd mentality. Herd mentality is nothing but investing where others are investing. We all feel bad, right? When many of our friends, families are achieving, let's say, great returns and we don't achieve. Without thinking too much, we end up investing in those assets. but you need to do your individual analysis, whether you have a long-term time frame available, whether you have that risk profile available. So my big suggestion is avoid this herd mentality. Make your investment based on your specific requirements, based on your specific goals. And this is a tailored approach thing. You can't do it yourself based on what others are doing. Okay. So this can help you achieve a great return over a long point of time. I just, as a takeaway, I want to give you these 5-6 things. So first part is use fixed deposit. And these are my final takeaways. Yukti, we can take up Q&A after that. The first part is the fixed deposit or debt fund. Use it for contingency or emergency fund. Make sure 3 to 6 months of the money is available there. Don't exceed your gold more than 10%, I think, and women would be cursing me right now. Why only 10% of the money in gold and jewelry? I think just put this money, which is part of your social need. Don't put so much money into asset which cannot deliver more than 8-10% return over a long period of time. So according to me, gold is not a compounding asset. It is an asset which can which can give you closer to inflation kind of return. The last part is nothing but equity. And we all discussed that equity over a long period of time can give you double-digit high growth, but provided you make these investment in buckets of more than 5 to 7 years. And my suggestion is, if you don't have a 7-year plus horizon, don't venture into equity, because your experience in investing will not be great. So you need to plan it this in a great way. Real estate can also build wealth, but it has its own complexity. We did discuss briefly about that it's an inseparable asset. It is difficult to find a buyer when you actually want to sell it. And over a long period of time, we have seen, and I wish I could have taken many of your real estate investment also, where I could have taken your individual investment into real estate and your annual returns in real estate. In most of the cases, wherever I've done that exercise, the returns have not been more than 12-13% annual returns. So when an asset class cannot give you more than 12-13% and you are blocking your money in illiquidity, I don't think that is a wise decision. So you have better options available. And please note that individual who cannot master their emotions are ill-suited to profit from the investment process. So I want to leave you with this thought, and thank you very much, Yukti, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarun. I know there is so much that you want to share, because there is so much that you're so on top of when it comes to managing our finance. And I think there have been a lot of eye-opening moments. I love the case studies that you shared with all of us, and that gave us a perspective of how we can make mistakes despite being rich. We cannot create enough wealth for ourselves. You could stop sharing, Tarun. We can just quickly take up a few questions. There are a lot of questions that I wanted to bounce off, but keeping time in mind, I just want to pick up on something which many people have resonated with, given that, you know, the COVID situation has created a lot of uncertainty and insecurity in people's mind, Tarun. You know, there is insecurity about whether we'll have the job we do or not. For how long will my business sustain? Can I manage the overheads for too long? And this is the situation where you want to keep some liquidity, right? Not knowing what will hit you next. So is there any thumb rule that you would like to share with us on how much should we keep for liquidity? How much should we invest? Even in the current times, should we hold back on investments, or is it in fact a better time to invest? What are your views on that?
It's a very good question, Yukti. My thumb rule for that is, first, if you have defined your contingency and emergency requirement, and this differs from profession to profession, business to business. So if your profession is a high risk business and you see a high chances of attrition in your kind of sector, it is wise to keep almost 6 months of your expenses available as a cash balance, and that you can keep in a fixed deposit or a liquid fund or a debt fund, which is available on a day's call for you. I have a client who is working in the oil industry, and his always worry is that oil was going through rough times in last 3 years. He has seen his colleagues being fired from the company. So I have always maintained a 6-month kind of contingency cash balance for him to make sure that in case of a job for 6 months, till time he finds a new job, he has money to take care of his regular requirement. And trust me, once you have taken care for that, the balance money is not there is no leakage on that money, and you can define that money based on your asset allocation. You can define these compounding targets for yourself, and long-term financial goals can be attacked accordingly. And I think pandemic has been a great lesson for all of us. And I have seen people who have planned it better before, and who have defined their goals and purposes before, and have been working towards it, have been able to stay on pandemic in a much better way. They have created a amount of purpose for themselves. In case of, let's say, a job loss or a business loss, they were able to take care of that situation. Yes. Thank
Makes
you.
sense. I think that's a good to go with. Thank you, Tarun. We'll hold back rest of the questions, keeping time in mind, and really want to thank you, Tarun, for making time to share so much with us. You've opened our mind to financial wellness and how we can start this journey. It's never too late, and it's never too less to invest. Thank you. And with that, I want to remind you all of the panel discussion, which is the icing on the cake. If you call Wellness Camp as a cake, the icing is the panel discussion which we have organized for you on 26th of June. I want to give you a sneak peek into our panel. These are people who are running organizations that are great place to work. Sandeep Gambhir once again has been awarded as a great place to work in the transport sector just day before yesterday. He runs a company called Oris Leasing, and he'll be sharing with us what is he doing right, even in this pandemic, which makes him, a managing director that handles a company that's a great place to work every single year. How is he engaging with his team? How are they doing this together? We have Shamal, who is a sports scientist, Manish Jaiswal, who is a managing director of Magma, another great place to work company, and Swapnil Kothari, who's the president of CFBP and managing partner at S. Kothari. Would you get access to this panel discussion? Very simple. You go back to your Wellness Camp page. You're very familiar with this now. You know exactly where to click when you want to join a session. On the same page, if you scroll down, you will see a panel discussion option there on 26th of June. As always, 5 minutes before 10, please log in by clicking here, and you will be in the room with these panelists and ask whatever questions that you may want to for your organization or teams. With that, let me open up the Financial Wellness Day with this fantastic session. There is another one happening at 9:30, which will be in Hindi by Mr. Subhash Chauhan, and then an exclusive session for women. Please make sure all the women that you know are here at 11 o'clock for an exclusive session for women on financial wellness. I think it's much needed that women take charge of their finance, and this is going to be another eye-opener for women to know where to start and how to start. So after 11 o'clock is again 4 in the evening with Subhash, and Tarun will be back with us in the evening at 7 o'clock. Please make sure people you know, and if you benefited from this session, bring in people you know from your network for his session at 7 in the evening. Let us together thank Tarun once again, and make sure that we are here back with him with some more questions that we will make time for in the evening. So come back with your questions and come back with people that you care for. On behalf of Wellness Camp and SBY Academy, I thank you all for your presence, and thank you so much, Tarun, for embracing the event.
Thank you. Thank you, Yukti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.